welcome to Not a Real Court. This is Joe, your judge, and join with me, Matt,
That's me. Hi, guys.
and also the bad guy, Gareth.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, today we're going to be doing my debate episode, which is going to be would you rather be famous or go back in time and relive the past 10 years, but you don't have knowledge of it? So, Matt is on the side of being famous. Please tell me why.
So I had a little bit of a tough one with this because at first thought of let me go back and live the last 10 years or be famous. I guess initially you would probably think like, oh, these sound great. I think they both sound like garbage. I hate both these options. So I took the lesser of the two, which I think is be famous because I can probably try to turn being famous. Again, you can be famous for anything. Drake just got famous for a whole nother reason to a whole nother level.
Just got famous?
To a whole nother level.
Excuse me, he was on Degrassi. That's like peak.
All right, fair. I'll pull that away then. But you'd be famous for all the wrong reasons. So like, just because you say like famous and the first thing you think of are like these great famous people, that's not necessarily the best thing for that. There's a woman who chopped a dude's dick off. She's famous for that. Like that's not something I want to be remembered for. But out of those two, like when you talk about the idea of just going back and reliving the last 10 years with no knowledge of it, it means I'm just gonna live the same life again. Like it's if I don't have any knowledge of it, then I'm not gonna change anything or do anything different. I would imagine with no knowledge of anything different, I would just do the same things again. And while some of that stuff was cool, some of it was just life. So I don't know, just going back and reliving something that you don't. And I guess for part of it too, it's if you don't have any memory of it, you don't even know that you lived it the first time. So you're just gonna go back and I don't know, just re-experience those all things again for with I don't know, it just seems boring.
All right, Kenneth the Menace.
Yeah, I will give you that because because mine came with a negative. so so I'm not mad at that. But when it comes to being famous, you have no kind of private life. Like none. You go outside, you can't even get out of the car. Oh my god, it's Matt. Oh my god, you're like, come on, man. Like you can't do anything.
It's Matt from Not a Real Court.
Oh my god.
Oh my god!
Do the line. You're like,
It's
bruh, I
the
can't even.
Kangaroo Court.
Yeah, and like that sucks. And you have your days where you like with me, I'm even though I'm an extrovert, you still have those days where you're like, bro, I ain't trying to talk to nobody for real. Like you can't have that. Like as soon as you get out of anywhere, oh my god, oh my god. And it sucks because it's like, okay, it's like it's Tuesday. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to chill. Like, but for them, it's like, oh my god, I'm meeting a big star and you're stuck. You're like, oh my god. Meanwhile, I ain't got to worry about all that. I can just go back and live a lot of great moments that I had. And you said past 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's some great times past 10 years. Especially, some of the females I mess with, I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Go back and be like, yeah. Remember me? Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah,
But you
but I'm
don't
just saying
remember her.
it's a lot of different things. Well, it's a lot of different things that like I would love to go back and just relive. And some things like movies, like I would love to rewatch again for the first time. That alone, because I love movies, couple songs, and a couple trends that were like, oh man, that was the life, and you don't realize it in the moment until later. You're like, damn, we was really living life back then, and it's just kind of like, hey,
And you never it's one of my favorite sayings actually, the you never know about the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. Like that stuff's important. But if you don't have any memories of that stuff, then you don't really know what it was. So like again, all those things might be cool to live again, but I already lived them. So I mean, I'm looking forward to the next 10 years. I don't need to go back and redo the other parts again, which aren't just the good ones. Like you named all the good ones, but there's a lot of bad ones. And for a lot of people who might have that choice, there might be some trauma in those 10 years. You might lose a parent, you have to go through that again of all that pain and every piece that goes into it. Like that doesn't sound enjoyable whatsoever to me. But as if and from the famous side, again, I'm coming into this very much saying that there's some negatives to it. Like there is a big part. And I think that the things that Kenny brought up are important. But when I get all those people in my face or the cameras in my face, for as hard as some of those times can be, it's also the one way that I can maybe influence change. And I think that's an important part to all of this and to life is to who can you affect and who can you make for the better and what can you do in those kind of things. And when I have a camera in front of my face and a microphone in front of my face where people are listening, like that gives you that opportunity. So there's still a lot of positives that come to fame, including, I mean, you can tell somebody to spit on that thing and turn that into a bunch of money and a different life than what you might have had before. So while again, there are definitely, I think both of these are bad, but I think the benefits of what I can then end up still trying to accomplish with being famous doesn't change me just going back and being right here again doing this show with you guys if I go back and relive the last 10 years.
But we get to relive 10 years of the show. We get to bring back debatable.
And
I
another
know, I
thing too, for my end, in a sense, am I immortal? I just added 10 more years to my life just then and didn't even realize it. It's just one of those kind of things too. I got 10 more years on you.
But you never
more
realize it. You're never going to realize it. So what does it even mean if you don't realize it?
But I get to live forever. That's all that matters. I get to live forever. I keep going back.
No. You don't get to.
Oh, just do it one time. Just one time.
One time. You don't get to live forever and go back. No, you're not getting superpowers.
I want to say. I'm just saying.
I was like, Groundhog's Day didn't look that fun.
Thank you for bringing up Groundhog Day. I just want to bring something up really quick to one of our very special listeners, my wife, who has never fucking seen Groundhog Day. When you listen to this episode, you better fucking watch that movie by then.
You should.
Well, think about Groundhog Day. Living the same day, I feel like you can make something shake with that. I would make something work with that. I'm just saying, especially being a gambling man myself, I can make something work.
It's always gambling with Kenny.
It always goes back to gambling. It always does. I have a problem.
And
that's why I put this with no knowledge.
Yeah, he knows it, so that is it's not the best example.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine had a restriction, but we still make it work. But with that, other thing too, just going back, because like I said, like the same thing I was talking about the when you go back and reliving moments, it's just going back and just seeing certain people, because like as you're going through life, everybody's going through the different paths, and you got some people that you really mess with, like that was really your friend for real, and you're like, damn, I really like to hang out with them again. Sometimes whether they died, whether it's they moved, whether it's just different things happening, whether they just life just went bad for them and they were no longer the same person. You can go back and kind of experience life with that person, and just be like, man, and they can be at that stage in life, and I feel like that's cool too. Especially when you go back and you get to the time where you're like, man, when life was, you just kind of careless, you just kind of just live through life, you just without a care. I don't know.
But just to that example though, because like you get those good parts, but like you said, the person moves away, the person dies. Now you're going to deal with that person moving away and dying again, and all the pain that comes through with that again. And almost to that point that you made before about like, I want that moment. Well, you want that moment now, but you go back 10 years, you have no idea. Like you don't know that you really want that moment. You're going to see that person for the last time again, and maybe not know that it was ever the last time again. You can't make that any more special. You're just going to literally relive the exact same life over again. So that was to me the biggest key into this, was not having any memories or not being able to learn any lessons from maybe what you had. That really made it work. Because again, at that point you're just doing it all over again. And I don't know. To me, there's more things that I can continue to do, and I'll take the perks along with the bad parts rather than just maintaining status quo.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you. I wish Joe just said no gambling instead of just instead of that. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of, because with me, there's a lot of good things that happened in the last 10 years, more than the bad. It wasn't really too much bad going on. I guess I can handle that kind of bad again. But
so yeah, I will say that the reason I didn't want to do with knowledge is because the one side was famous, and if you went back 10 years, you would just become famous.
Well, even if you're not gonna be famous, I can, like I said, like gambling aspect of it, it can be. Oh, you can also just be like, you know what? If I can go back, and especially if I had the memory, like I said, I can go back and experience those things with the people. Some things I'll be like, I wouldn't do that. Like certain things you're like, I don't know the things. I remember that. Don't do that. Don't mess with that girl, or don't go hang out with them. Like they're gonna get shot. Like stuff like that. Like you don't.
Say Hawk Tua.
Make sure you get interviewed. Say Hawk Tua there. But yeah, little things like that. Yeah, I would definitely go back. Like say, more for moments more than anything. Famous, like I said, famous. It sounds cool, but you literally have no privacy. You literally get to the point where even if you tweet, sometimes you just be saying stuff, you just clowning. Oh, what did you mean by that? You get canceled for something you said back in, and it, yeah, that part too. You get canceled for something you said back in, what was it when did Twitter first start? Like 2008, 7. Something you said back then. You're like, I was a child then. Stuff like
Or-
that, and you're canceled.
But if we're gonna go just on personal experience from that one, I don't have a Twitter. Never had a Twitter, so I don't have to worry about that part. And I get it if we were asking like more from like a personal standpoint. Like I'm not trying to sound like sad about like, oh, my last years of my life were crappy. Last 10 years of my life were awesome. But if I'm also trying to think of like for any person, you talk to the wrong person, you ask them that question, all of a sudden you're gonna trigger them for some trauma they went through. Be like, don't want to do that again. No, sir.
All right. So I'm going to pass my judgment here. You both had some good spots. I didn't really think about the bad famous. That was a good point to bring up.
I had to. I had a lot of restrictions with mine.
I bet that
Yeah.
one head on. I brought that up right against myself.
Yeah, so I mean, you did pull the John Rizzo, as we like to call it here, and you shot yourself in the foot. But yeah, Kenny had a lot of good points to going back and reliving those moments. Even though you don't know you're doing it, you still get to experience those again. Even though there may be some shitty moments, there's a lot of good things you get to relive. So the trauma part as well, though, that's a good one to bring up because. Yeah, you wrong person, go back 10 years, you don't know what the fuck happened. There could be something really bad in there, and yeah, you wouldn't want to relive that. So, but I'm still gonna go with Kenny.
I had a terrible joke I was gonna say. I was like, I was gonna say, don't go to camp. Don't go to camp. Camp counselors, they're gonna tickle you. No, but good. But yeah, I appreciate the
All right.
Wild.
So, with that being said, you can find all of our shows over at t13media.com, and we will catch you next week on Not a Real Caught.